Hey guys, Sinza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands beta video. Now in this video I'm going to be going over the recent tests that they had. This will be my first raid testing video, and I've never done raid testing before. But yeah, in this video, the first one is going to be Huntsman Altimor, and then there's also the Council of Blood later on. Now this was an interesting fight. It seems a little bit overtuned currently, but yeah, it's basically there's the huntsman and he has like three pets that you fight, and each pet will have like a different sort of abilities, and also all damage is shared. They don't have the same health, but the huntsman and its pets, whenever you do damage to either of them, it's shared to the other one, so you can basically attack whichever you want. And I'm also, I'm playing Windwalker Monk with the Night Fae ability here. So this first one isn't too bad. It's basically the first pet Margor has this charge that he does, and you have to stack in it. And it's shared, like it does an amount of damage that's shared between all the people that stack in there. So, the more people you have in that circle when it does it, then it'll do less damage to the individual. And if you see those red arrows going out, that's the probably one of the most important abilities to work on, and definitely difficult for melee. It's called Sin Seeker, and it does a lot of damage. Um, so like my monk here has about almost 30k, and this is heroic testing. Getting hit by that arrow, whoever's the target, so it targets three people, and whoever's the actual target will take over 15k damage. So that's more than half of my health as a DPS, and it also puts a dot on there for about 6 or 7k damage every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. And anybody who's in the line between the target and the boss will also take the dot, but not the initial hit. So, that's a lot of damage. And it was giving our group some trouble for a while, but it actually wasn't too bad. Uh, overall, it wasn't that bad when we, got used to kind of like spreading out and all that. Now, the next pet that he comes out with is what really gave us some trouble. All right, so Bargas is the second pet, and it basically pulls like spirits and shades out. It does a healing one where a shade will come out and it has to be healed fully before it reaches the boss. Otherwise, it'll do a lot of damage, and yeah, makes the boss do more damage, as you can see now. And the shades is the real trouble. This is what stopped us from ever going past it. These shades have the same health as, Barghast, and what happens is whenever you CC them, they gain a stack that will cause you to do more damage to them. So we had at one point we had like five or more stacks, and we still didn't even put a dent into its health. It was still like not even a quarter of its health was gone. And there's two shades, and of course you still have the boss and the actual Barghast to deal with. So yeah, it was a little bit of trouble there. Um, Honestly, I don't, it could have just been our group, but I just feel like it was overtuned because there's only so much, CC you can do. Now I didn't get to really test to see if I could like use disable and just keep like stacking it up with disable. Because if you use disable twice as a monk, it'll root them. So I don't know if there was that, how much diminishing returns. I do know that it has a bar, and if that bar fills up, then you can't CC them anymore. So basically, it's kind of like a wipe at that point. But yeah, we used a lot of CC. I don't know how many CC things that we had. We could have probably gotten more, but I mean, even at 500% extra damage, we just couldn't. When you have two on there and it's a cast, he's probably gonna do multiple times. I don't know. I feel like it was just a little too much, but again, it could have just been our group, but we couldn't progress past that point. It was just yeah, it was too much. Now, we didn't get to see the last boss, but I will put up its ability on the screen, and it seems to be well, the main tank ability, it seems to be a stacking buff that you can negate by kiting. So it seems like you're gonna want to basically kite the boss the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but because so basically it gets this boost as it's attacking the tank and these stacks, and so then it gets to a point where you're just gonna be doing too much damage to the tank. So you're gonna want to kite it, but as you're kiting it, it'll drop stacks, but also do damage to the raid. So it's going to be like a balancing act between how many stacks can I take, and then you start kiting when it gets too much, because you can't just kite it the entire time because it's going to keep doing all that damage and then wipe the raid. So I think it's a overall I think it's a pretty interesting fight. Three different pets. I'd like to know at least if it was overtuned or not. I do feel like some of the things do a bit more damage because the entire raid was, scaled up. So I don't know if that's, intentional, but I've heard that raid testing usually is overtuned at the beginning. So we could probably expect these numbers to be a little bit lower. But yeah, kind of cool fight. You got a hunter basically with three different pets using one at a time. Damage is shared even though they don't have the same health. All three of the boss has his own mechanics, and then all three of the pets have their own mechanics, and they're not too hard. It was actually kind of fun. Um, yeah, first one just being an easy stack. Then the second one is really interesting, and like I like the idea of it because it involves using CC and using abilities that most people probably wouldn't normally use. But it just seemed like it it just seemed too high. The CC that we did just wasn't enough, and then the last one seems like a cool balancing act, but we didn't get to it. But yeah, I definitely am interested to see more of this, especially when because again, this was a pug group, so I definitely would like to see this in a more and see like other people's thoughts and videos on how an organized group did this fight. But let's go ahead and move on to the Council of Blood. Okay, so yeah, this fight was very interesting. Unfortunately, it was definitely bugged at times. Our first, I can't remember how many tries. It was fine if you did the mechanics, but then we just started getting wiped. Like it was pretty bad. But it's a council fight, and as you can see here, it's a lot of a lot of stuff going on. Um, Oh yeah, if anybody was looking and wondering these random demons that come out, that's a demon hunter covenant ability. So that's just where they have to go and kill a demon. So those have nothing to do with these fights at all. But as you can kind of see, this fight is sort of a nightmare for melee. There's yeah, there's a lot of those dancy boys that come across the screen, and it'll get stunned if you sit in it. It doesn't seem that bad, but the stun could cause you to sit in another thing. Um, there's this mirror that's just there. It reduces the damage. We haven't quite figured it out yet. I mean, you could just kill it. The problem is a lot of people were ignoring it. I think the best thing is just to kill it, but they also just move the bosses out of it. But more mirrors of those shields can come up, so I think it's best just to kill it. And then, you got to dodge all of the stuff on the ground. So what happens is at like 50% health. So each boss the bosses do not share health, and when you kill one, then they're healed fully. But when you get one boss to 50% health, that's when the Dance Macabre starts, the second phase. Now, that is a really interesting phase. I'm going to go ahead and cut to that real quick. Phase two, real quick, and basically you have to do this dance. You got to follow the leader. You get a golden circle you have to go stand into, and then you get this new action bar, and whatever they call out, whichever direction they call out, and it clearly shows on the screen, then you just select that ability. Now, anybody that's not in the circle in time instantly dies. As you can see, some of our raid is dead, and if you mess up, then you'll get I believe it's a 30-second stun if you mess the dance moves up, and then just once it's done, then they come back, and then yeah. Now the bosses themselves seem fairly easy to damage, like but with all the other mechanics going on, and then you know later, which I'm going to show in just a second, um, when the dance part started, even though we had people in, we all just instantly died. So we're about to go into the phase again. Everything is fine. Like, okay, they're moving. You go to your spot, and you're like, okay, good. The bar comes up. We're all alive. Well, most of us. And then, waiting for the call out, and we're dead. Like, what? And then it was like, well, maybe it's just a glitch, and then we tried a bunch of different things, and then, yeah, for some reason, it just kept happening. Would go in there again, everybody would be in the same position, and then we'd be dead again. But I still think the fight itself is pretty cool. Um, you got the three different bosses, and another thing about it is like, so you get them to 50% health, well, one of them, and then starts the dance. It's whenever any of them go to 50% health. But when you kill one of them, then the other two will be empowered with a new ability, and it's different for each one. And then again, once you kill the second one, the last one will get a third ability. So there's the infused with anima, and then there's the empowered with anima. So you have to basically look. What we were doing was we were fighting the middle one first. I forgot her name, and then we were going after, I believe, Stavros. So as you come up here, we were fighting the middle one first, and then I think we were saving the right one for last. Uh, but we don't know exactly the best method because we didn't get to see the abilities. But yeah, the middle one is the one that hurts the tank a lot, I believe. So it's just kind of interesting because they'll get extra abilities, and I think that would be a cool fight. And if the dance wasn't just all of a sudden started breaking, then we probably could have actually killed it. But yeah, overall, it was probably it was a good experience, and I definitely can't wait to try out some different ones. And there'll be another test later, so I will definitely be doing more of these. I'd like to know what you guys think about it, and yeah, I would have loved to show more, but it's just with maybe overtuned and mechanics just breaking. That's all I could do. So that's all for this video. If you like it, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching.